So we're back again with some more eBay Mitutoyo calipers, sold as genuine. This is what the advert looks like. Delivery was fairly straightforward, 4 days, something like that. So fairly conventional for UK postage. What I want to call out on some of these sellers is quite often you'll see on here that the join date isn't too far away. You know, it's fairly recent, within the last 3 or 4 years. The feedback scores, the actual numbers of feedback received, are often quite low. So it is like they've had an account for a while and they've only just started selling. So most of this feedback here is in the last 6 months. That's fairly consistent with some of these sellers. It's something to look out for. And also you'll notice that these are listed as a private seller. So that means you don't receive the same level of buyer protection from UK law as you would if it was a business seller. But that's just some things to look out for. In many cases, eBay still offer their money back guarantee. Okay, this is how the package arrived. So let's. I've made some cuts. We'll dig into it and see what's inside. While I'm doing this, I had some feedback on the last video, so we'll introduce some measurements here as well on this one, and see if there's any real difference in the accuracy of these calipers compared to some bought from reputable tool shops. Okay, there we go. So pretty tidy looking box from the outset. Good spacing on the graphics. There are things that I recognise immediately from this box, but we'll bring in the genuine box and do a side by side. So genuine ones on the top. You can see the colouring is very slightly different. The shade of orange is different. It's difficult to see here, but the texture of the cardboard is different. We'll focus again on this letter R, which is always a pretty consistent thing to look for. So the genuine box has a pointed R, whereas the eBay box has a squared off tail on the R. The lines on this eBay box are grey. Sometimes they come through black. Character spacing is good. Maybe a tiny bit wider on the eBay box. We can bring in a caliper here, and this isn't a genuine caliper, by the way. Very small difference there, of about, yeah, not a great deal at all. Just under 1 millimeter, around about. Logos on the side of the box, font slightly bolder on one box. The graphic here, again, not well represented. You can see it's bolder. It's off center, so that middle blob isn't lined up centrally. It's like the 3 individual blobs are somewhat rotated. Made in Japan, written on the back on both, and the one piece text on the side, slightly different size between them. This is the eBay one. That side, nothing at all. This side, as usual, the fairly credible label on the side. Okay, let's open her up. Box again, as expected. Very difficult to tell any difference between these boxes. The most reliable method I've seen identified is a lack of the Made in Japan graphic on the eBay boxes, which is the case on this one. Sharp eyes, I suppose. The molding text PP4 on the eBay one, PP7 on the genuine one. Okay, so paperwork. What we have here, as expected, this is the big folded paper sheet, fairly low quality print. This has just been through a machine a number of times. We've got a genuine looking battery on here. Again, the genuine looking certification label, the cleaning instructions, the calibration certificate, caliper itself in the heat sealed bag, and a piece of anti-moisture paper. Let's have a quick look at these certificates and do some comparisons on the quality of the material. So pull these out of the genuine box. So we've got the certification label first, or the certificate first. Similar sizes, roughly similar sort of print quality. The one thing that's different here is the colouring. With the genuine ones, a lot more vibrant. You can see, for example, here this stamp. It's very much more orange than the one on the left hand side, which is the eBay one. Okay. Cleaning instructions. This is just a piece of card. This is also just a piece of card, but it's thinner. This is obviously, this feels like a disposable piece of card, whereas this one, it's a heavier cardstock. This is the eBay one. Calibration documents, the certifications. So quite often with these, the cardstock's very, very similar. The ones from eBay often look bolder and less precise in the print, which is the same with this one. Okay. something I noticed recently. This is a flat cut edge along here, and I noticed on the genuine one there's actually evidence of a perforation line, although the perforation line hasn't been used, but there is a perforation line there. So I thought that was quite an interesting little detail. Okay, the manuals, these are always very different. So this is quite a thin type of paper. The print quality is exceptional. There's a lot of detail. It's very easy to see there's a lot of detail. The eBay ones have a very sort of generic paper with pretty low quality detail on the print. I think, as I've mentioned before, I always have a look to see that the documentation has a reference to the battery warning light. Now, it's been seen that as the battery voltage drops on digital calipers, the accuracy decreases. So it's quite a useful, not only useful but important features to have, that you know when your battery's going low. Okay, we'll have a look at this battery case. So I haven't got my original battery case. This one looks similar. It's worth noting, or worth looking at, the battery graphic in more detail. So this is mocked up as an LR44. As it says on this package, the battery is actually an SR44. So the wrong battery is in this pack. If we look at the picture of a zoomed in picture of a genuine battery, we can see that's marked up as a SR44, and that's what comes in a genuine pack. Okay, we open this up. So normally we wouldn't expect to see a battery installed. I was just smelling this paper here. When I opened the original genuine item, the smell coming from the bag was quite strong. It smelled like chemicals. And there's lots of warnings on this not to touch and interact with the paper. It's obviously got something in there which isn't too pleasant, but okay. Fairly ordinary little tag here. Okay, and we've obviously got a battery in here. Another thing to note: the genuine Mitutoyos don't come on when you move them. Okay, you have to press the button. Whereas these, they come on when you move them. Okay. Okay, let's just have a look at the face, the casings, and so forth. So from the outset, look fairly ordinary. Without comparison, you wouldn't be able to see anything particularly obvious. You wouldn't know what you were looking for here. So the texture of this rail sticker, the genuine Mitutoyos have a very smooth surface to them. It's almost like PTFE, sorry, not PTFE, PVC insulation tape. It's quite a smooth surface, whereas the eBay ones have a little bit of a texture to them. Okay. Graphic spacing's often quite accurate. We've got some different sizes going on there by the looks of it. Yeah, just about. Difficult to line them up, but there is a small variance there. The riveted pin there is also in a different place, whereas the genuine Mitutoyo one is very near the end of the caliper, and the eBay one is a little bit further up from the bottom. Another thing I noticed recently with this, the end of the fiberglass board in the eBay ones often looks as though it's been snapped off, where the Mitutoyo one, it's a clean cut. It's been machined down. Okay. Graphics on the front. This is something to look for quite easily. The Mitutoyo ones, quite bold lettering. The eBay ones quite often, and these are the case, thinner letters. The Mitutoyo graphic above the battery slider should be nice, bright and white, or bright grey. It's quite a dark, faint grey in the eBay one. The screen cover, I don't recall, but I'm fairly confident that you don't get a screen cover with genuine Mitutoyos. The button orientations, so you can see that all the buttons look like they're in the right place. The on-off, 0 and origin buttons on the genuine are proud of the casing. The only one that's recessed into the casing on the genuine one is, or flush with the casing, is the millimeter inches one, and on the eBay one, the millimeters and inches one is raised, and the origin button sits slightly flusher. Okay, let's have a look at the hole orientation. So this is quite difficult to spot sometimes, and it is going to be in this case where the holes look fairly well orientated on both of them. Okay. Label on the back, quite often easy to spot. This is a sort of a matte black label with very clear text on it. This is a shiny label with quite difficult text to read. There's also quite a heavyweight label. It's got quite a step here, whereas the genuine label much thinner. Okay, difficult to show. Just have a look at this screw hole for the back casing. It seems to be slightly deeper in the hole on the eBay one. And the back pin, okay, fairly straightforward there. So those are the sort of cosmetic differences. Let's have a look now at some of the differences in the machining quality. So one of the first ones to look for is this corner here. This has got a sharp 90-degree corner and radius curves here. Okay. Another thing to look for was the fit of the thumb wheel. There's not a great deal of play in this thumb wheel here. I'll have a look at this one, and it's a lot looser. Another good one was the finish of the turning function on these wheels, these little thumb wheels. So you can see, it's difficult to see, but that's been turned. And on this one here, hopefully it will show in the light. But it's got it's a different texture to it. It almost looks like stars. It's like lines coming out radially from the center of the thumb wheel. So it's not a conventional turning process. Okay, I'll have a look at the ends of the depth gauges. Okay. So we can see here the lower one is the eBay one, and the upper one is the Mitutoyo one. We can see there's a very different end shape to those. Okay, so one of the other tests that I do is the battery test. Take out the battery, we put a low voltage battery in the caliper, which this one is. Slide this in here. So I'm not getting anything with this battery at the moment. Let me try this in the genuine one. Okay. It's just not a very good fit, this battery. So another thing to note, when you put a battery in a genuine Mitutoyo, you get these dashes, and these dashes are forcing you to set the origin. And what we can see here is this battery indicator light, and that's what we were looking for. We'll also just have a quick look at inside gold contacts. Very different inside the eBay one. I'll try this battery once more, but I know it's very low. It was struggling in one of my other calipers recently. I'm just going to pause off screen because I think if we look at the earth strap for that battery housing, seems to have come down. So I'm just going to tweak that back into place. Okay, so just giving that a tweak. So let's try with this battery again. There we go. Okay, brilliant. So we saw that battery went in. There was no dashes on the screen to set the origin. There's also no battery warning indicator light on there. Now, one thing I meant to mention on the machining quality, this slide rail here, these often differ quite a lot. Okay, so you'd expect to see a rounded end to where the slide rail is cut into, or it's end milled into the caliper, and this uses a completely different machining technique. Okay, so I'll put the batteries back into these, and we'll get the gauge block out and do some measurements. Okay, that one's zeroed. Origin set. Okay. So this is a 25mm gauge block. I'll measure it with the genuine Mitutoyo first. Okay, we're seeing bang on 25 millimeters. Try this one. It's also showing 25 millimeters. Okay. Okay. I've also got here a big metal sprocket. I can quite easily rest the caliper on here so that we can get a reading from it. It's more real world, I suppose, this, if you're on the bench trying to measure something. So I can rest the back rail here, so I'm now a square. Okay, 69.92. 93. Okay. Okay. Got quite a different reading here. Oh, there we go. 69.93. Yep. Okay. So it reads comparatively. So that doesn't prove anything at all, really, other than it does what it says on the box. And I think one of the observations I'll make, that quite often these do read well. The big difference is you don't know when the battery is low. You don't know when your readings are starting to vary. There are ones that don't read well. So I've got this one here, which is a 300 millimeter non-genuine item. This one doesn't read so well. Okay, 2504. I've looked at this many times. This will not read 25 millimeters on this gauge block. So there are ones out there that won't read as well. They do exist. So I think that's all for today. Another very similar Mitutoyo caliper from eBay. Again, not what it says on the box. Lots of things to look out for. Very difficult to spot, but once you know what the signs are, you'll have a better chance of being able to spot what's going on. Cheers for now.